Hello Capricorn, welcome to this reading. On October 21st, the universe is resetting your scales with a new moon in Libra. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the week ahead that is October 20th to the 26th, which does indeed include a new moon in Libra on the 21st. So with that said, do keep in mind that this is a general reading, so take the messages as they resonate, drop the ones that do not, and also check out your sun, moon, and rising signs. Okay, Capricorn, new moons are always a great time for fresh starts, new beginnings, and this new moon in particular might have you analyzing, like, where do I need to create balance? Where do I need to achieve harmony? Within myself or within my partnerships. And, also some of you may be asking yourself, like, or looking at what is fair, what is unfair in my scenario right now. These things could all be sort of coming up for you around this new moon time as we look at this week ahead. So go ahead and get these cards set up and we'll get right into it. Okay, I think this is looking just about good enough to meet. Energy on the bottom, you do have the King of Wands, amazing sign. So the King of Wands is somebody who's a leader, usually a leader in business. This is a classic entrepreneur, if this is not somebody who works a 9-to-5, but this is really, really a classic entrepreneur. On a different level, this person is kind of strikes a healthy balance between having wisdom in business and career, but also okay with a little bit of risk as well. If you think about the concept of entrepreneurship, there's like an inherent amount of risk in that because, a stable 9-to-5 job is more stable. You kind of get the idea. But, this is also somebody who's really, really fun and exciting to be around. This is somebody you want to work for, or you want to work under. This is a really solid sign here. To get the King of Wands on the bottom. Now, interestingly enough, you do have a counterpart here. You have the King of Wands and the Queen of Wands in this reading. So there could be a love message here for some people. And actually, yeah, we do have the Three of Swords. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. But I do see that you have a very Libra new moon card here. You do have the scales, okay, here showing up with the Six of Pentacles. And it does seem like this is kind of heavier on the business, career, finance side, but there's definitely a love message here as well. Okay, there's definitely a love message here as well, and we'll get into that. So right away in the middle for you, Capricorn, you do have the Six of Pentacles. And as you see here, you've got the Libra-esque scales, okay, on the card as we are looking at the new moon in Libra. And this is about balancing something out for you, Capricorn. And one way of looking at this card can indicate generosity in the tarot, right? It can say that you're a very generous person, you're a very giving person, Capricorn. It can also represent the idea of inflow, outflow, money coming in, money going out, right? And some of you are maybe analyzing that right now. Some of you are maybe looking at spending. I see this card come forward a lot with spending. Or one way of looking at it as well that I've been thinking about recently, and it's been coming in for some people, is like, are you being, like, is there a limit that you have to set on your generosity? Are you being too generous, or is somebody being too generous with you? Like, these sorts of things could be on the table for you at this time, Capricorn. And I would say here that, there is a certain level of karma that comes along with giving, And, karma is really just the accumulation of your actions. And I do really believe that when we give, it does eventually come around, okay? And I'm kind of seeing this idea that something is paying off for you here, okay? I do think that this will ultimately lead to some level of freedom, okay? In the long term, okay, it will lead to some level of freedom. I don't know if you're achieving this right now, like during this week, but the end game for you here is some level of freedom and independence, which we're going to get into here. There's a lot to kind of unpack with this first two cards here. And let's just go ahead and dive right into the first column. You do have the Queen of Wands, the King of Swords, and the Four of Swords. Okay, so I will kind of just jump ahead a little bit here and also include that Three of Swords as I talk about this, because it does seem like there's a split here that's going on. You've got this Queen of Wands and the King of Wands counterparts in the tarot, and you've got a separation that's happening with the Queen of Swords. Not only that, but you have the Four of Swords here, which is recovery from the Three of Swords, right? So you see the Three of Swords card on the banner above this person. This person's resting and recovering from a separation or a breakup or a split that may be going on here. Now, this could be in partnership. Like this may be a split with you between you and a colleague or a business partner as well, as we really only have, like, let's see here, one Cups card. Okay, we do have that Three of Swords, but you can see the heart. Okay, you can see the heart in the sword, indicating that this is like an emotional situation, you know, that you are separating from, okay, here in life. Now, remember that it's not always about relationships. It can also be about anything else that your heart was in. That is the idea of the Three of Swords. And what's nice is you do have recovery from that here with the Four of Swords, okay? But I do see a fracture that's going on between you and another person that at one point you were counterparts. And, you know, I do believe in this idea of like relationship assignments. Like, you know, we meet everybody we meet for a reason. You know, no one crosses paths by chance. Like that idea, right? And so it doesn't mean that like you might know, like you are counterparts. Like you met for a reason, and you had to be counterparts for a reason. You had to be partners for a reason. Okay, but it may mean that for whatever reason there is a fracture in the connection at this time. Okay, and it's not immediately clear to me what this is at this moment, but I do see a fracture in that connection here. Now, with that, the King of Swords is also a very Libra energy. And the King of Swords, it may mean that there's another person involved here. That's very possible here, as you have King and Queen of Wands, but the King of Swords, that's possible. But on a different level, the King of Swords, you know, is about, you know, this is somebody who likes to strike balance. This is somebody who's objective and fair. This is not someone who plays favorites as well. I even feel like the split or the fracturing that's going on here between you and another person is maybe even, it's possible that this is like an amicable decision. It doesn't mean it's not painful or challenging, but it's somewhat amicable, right? That would be a very like King of Swords thing, like being able to come up with or come to conflict resolution. You know, these sorts of things can show up for you during this time here. Capricorn, it's actually a perfect time with the new moon in Libra to do that. Yeah, let's move to the middle column. You have the Three of Swords, as I talked about, the Six of Pentacles, and the Eight of Cups. So with the Eight of Cups, it's clear to me that you are walking away from this situation. Somebody's walking away here for sure, whether it's you or the other person. Somebody's walking away, okay? And ultimately, the end goal for you is the next column, which seems to be pretty solid for you. What I will say is this will take, the healing process for this will take a little bit of time here, okay? It will take a little bit of time here as you have the Four of Swords, Three of Swords, Five of Swords. Like that's a progression of events that's happening, okay? But I think during this time you're taking an important step to choose you over anything else, which it's not always a bad idea to do that, right? There are times in life where we have to put our own needs and interests first. And I was saying, like, it's not immediately clear to me why the fracture is happening, but with these Six of Pentacles, there may be a connection to money in some way. Like, there may be a connection to generosity. Some of you may feel like this situation I'm in is not balanced. It's not even, it's not fair. You know, there's no, like, equality in this situation, you know? And the reason is you've got the scales there with the Six of Pentacles. And so some of you are looking to maybe balance this out. You may have already tried to do that. Okay, you may have already tried to do that. And that idea is represented in these spilled and empty cups of the Eight of Cups, right? And you may be at the point here where you've tried what you could. You know, you've really tried everything you could. And it's time to kind of point your arrow north. It's time to point your arrow in another direction. Okay? So I do see that that is on the table, and I get a sense that Some of you are ready to shift gears a little bit here and start giving back to yourself with that Six of Pentacles. There's something about generosity there that is really in my mind as I look at this. In the in the final column here, you have the Five of Swords, the Judgment card, and the Nine of Pentacles, Capricorn. So again, we have this very interesting combination. They're not in a straight line, but you've got the 3, 4, and 5 of Swords here. Again, the fives, that's progression that's happening in this scenario, okay? And the 5 of Swords is some type of like loss that you are encountering. The thing is with the 5 of Swords, it's like a minor loss. It's not like the end of the world when you see the 5 of Swords. It's totally, in other words, it's totally recoverable. Okay, if there is something that you are losing here, you are going to bounce back from this. You can even see in the image that the person in the background is waving their flag, but the sun rays are coming out of this person, indicating that they're down, but they're not out, okay? And I think that as I look at this, you are at a very critical stage or a critical point with this person or with this scenario here, okay? Six of Pentacles, Judgment card. Like there is a big kind of like meeting point. You're at a critical stage, critical juncture, critical point here in this scenario. And this may even lead you to have some sort of epiphany here. And what I like about that is you may have an aha moment around independence and freedom. The Nine of Pentacles person is financially independent. They are free, okay? And the reason is they've built this bush here of pentacles, which not only has pentacles, but in other interpretations has fruit. Okay, the flowers are usually fruit. This indicates the ability to sustain one's self. Okay, and so ultimately this split, this severance, this letting go, this walking away is in pursuit. Like the end game for you is freedom. Okay, it's independence. It's being able to sort of march to the beat of your own drum here. Okay, even though we are in this new moon here where partnership and harmony is like a very like critical point of the, or a big point of the new moon, but you know, there is a question of partnership, okay? And I do think that there is a question of independence for you, okay? And the partnership here is there's something's going south. With the Judgment card, it can represent this idea of karma, okay? And you've got two kind of what I would suggest karma cards in the tarot. Scales generally mean karma, or they can. And the Judgment card is maybe the biggest card of karma outside the actual Justice card, which is coincidentally the card of Libra. But Judgment, it says you're like seeing the results of everything that has taken place, all of the actions that you've taken up to this point, and you're receiving your judgment, so to speak, okay, from the universe, so to speak. And that can really, really lead to an epiphany here, okay, for you. So you're at a strong stage here at this time with someone, with a situation. Let's get more details. All right, so we're gonna move into the oracle cards here. We'll pull some oracle cards, and then we'll also pull some tarot cards for you. And yeah, we'll see what comes forward in the clarification section here, Capricorn. Okay. Perfect. I think that's good enough. Energy on the bottom, you have look for a sign. There it is, Judgment card. Look for a sign. I like this card a lot. Yeah, getting some synchronicities maybe in this week around what to do with this scenario here. Let's read these two as they're the same color, and then the other ones are the same color as well, interestingly enough. Within the next few weeks, and you're ready. This You're Ready card is a big card in this oracle deck from what I understand. And it means you're kind of at the pinnacle of something, okay? And I see that here with the Judgment card. The Judgment card is the last stage before you reach the mountain's peak, before you reach the mountaintop. Okay, and I think that you're so close to doing that. We'll be on the lookout for the world as we pull more tarot cards. Lastly, you have improving health, recovery, and remain positive. I see recovery and improvement for you here in the Four of Swords, in this combination of the 3, 4, 5 of Swords, but certainly in this Four of Swords card. I also think that there may be something that is healing, something that is therapeutic, so to speak, in deciding to go in a new direction here. Like you may find a lot of improvements in taking, like, even just the mere act or of taking that step may feel very healthy. Like, it may feel very therapeutic for you because you have done something that is not exactly easy for you personally, right? It may be hard for you to let go of this person or this situation, okay? I try to bring in messages for everyone, but this is a pretty specific timeline that I'm reading here. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the tarot cards for you. Okay, we'll pull some tarot cards, and then, yeah, we'll continue forward. Now, Capricorn, do appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Do hope things are going well for you. We'll go ahead and split the deck, and then we'll get into it. Yep, you have the Ten of Wands. It's just becoming challenging. You have the Magician, and you have the Six of Pentacles. Again, you can see the scale here, as I've mentioned. Okay, so yes. So first and foremost, in this spread, this middle card is very important because it spills into all of these cards. It touches all of these cards. Okay, so like in a certain way, it all draws back to the middle. Okay, and so in and of itself, for that reason, the Six of Pentacles is an important card in this reading. But now you have it again here. Okay, you have it again here, and you have it here with the Four of Swords. This idea of looking at balance, this idea of looking at generosity, at what is fair, what is unfair, what is, you know, where is there an imbalance? Like, who is doing more than the other person? Like, this kind of idea. You get the idea. I don't have to go on that any further. You get the idea of what I'm saying here. Like, this idea of creating harmony is going to be an important part of this week for you, okay? And I think it connects to giving in a certain way, okay? I think there's some level of generosity here that has maybe even gone too far, okay? We'll double check when we get these next columns clarified, but I do see that because the Ten of Wands, it represents a burden, okay? It represents a burden. And in some respects, I do think that there's some overgiving or some overgenerosity here for some people at this time, whether this is, by the way, financial giving or like just being generous, like in other areas, okay? And, you know, the Ten of Wands, it could be showing up as a burden in that area here that I just mentioned, like the generosity stuff, but also this person may be becoming a burden for you, okay? This partnership, this connection that you're in, it may be burdensome, okay, in some way. Lastly, with the King of Swords and the Magician, I like this because I suggested that that King of Swords might say that at this time, it's a perfect opportunity for you to create conflict resolution. And the Magician is about manifestation. Okay, so I think during this period, you can really, in a positive way, finish something if this is what you want, or end something, or, you know, amicably solve a problem. Like, that's very possible here with the Magician and the King of Swords. Yeah, here's the Two of Cups. It's very clear that this is what this reading is about. That's split, okay? Two of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Eight of Pentacles. That's, you know, the Two of Cups is a strong, strong, strong card of partnership in the tarot. It's the biggest card of partnership, and we've been reading about it the entire time. We started off with the counterparts here. We now have the Two of Cups, and it's falling on separation, divorce, breakup, those sorts of things, or just a splitting here, okay? That's going on, a fracture that's happening between you and a partner. Okay, it's very clear in this reading what this reading is about. The Page of Pentacles, some of you have given and given and given and given, okay? Because the Page of Pentacles, it represents offers or invitations, okay? And I even think that you have tried to resolve something in the past. And I suggested that earlier, where you have the Eight of Cups here, and that idea of trying to resolve something in the past is shown in these spilled and empty cups, right? And at this point, like nobody can, like one of the two of you were really, really dedicated to each other. Like somebody's been really, really dedicated, and there has not been reciprocity there. Like the other person has not been giving that back to you, or vice versa. With the Eight of Pentacles, it represents dedication, and I think like at this point here, you're kind of like at your limit, and you're having an epiphany about this. Now, I also said that there's something else brewing here in the distance, which is ultimately all of this is leading to ultimate freedom. Okay? And with that Eight of Pentacles card, that really can indicate positive movement forward. And this can see you being very, very focused and sort of married to your work. Okay, your work, what you do for employment and however capacity that looks for you, whether it's self-employment like the King of Wands or in a traditional career. Like I see you really diving into this, and the long-term sort of like end game here for you is freedom, right? You have another page here. You have the Page of Wands. Okay, you have the Knight of Pentacles, and you have the Nine of Swords. Okay, Capricorn, trust in the timing. Okay, trust in the timing. Okay, the Nine of Swords here, this is about somebody who's having a nightmare. You know, this is somebody who is really fearful, afraid, scared of the future. And you know that you want to build this maybe legacy for yourself, you want to build this financial independence, you want to build this freedom for yourself, but it's not happening like today or tomorrow. And you're, I think, attaching a time value to that outcome when the guidance here is to trust in time, trust in the timing. Okay, it will happen when it absolutely has to happen. Okay, so as long as you are doing everything that you can do on a given day, what else is there for you to do? You know, and with that, the Knight of Pentacles, nobody can question your hard work, Capricorn. You know, the Knight of Pentacles, it does represent an event that's happening for you here. With the Judgment card, it's critical for you. It's a critical event that's happening. And I would even say that there's like some of you are like, there's almost, what is the phrase? It's sort of like when you walk away, this other person might try to bring you back in. Okay? And I feel like you may think about that a lot, but it's not happening. Okay? Page of Wands, another offer here that's going on. Yeah, when you've made your decision, it's final. Because the thing is that you can't say that you haven't already tried to repair or patch it together in a certain way. You know, you've already gone down that path. Yeah, the High Priestess on the bottom, it represents your intuition. It represents something that's maybe hidden or secrets. It represents spirituality, but intuition, I think, here is really strong for you at this time. Let's see what else we have. Let's take a look at the Kipper cards for you here, Capricorn. Very, very specific reading that absolutely somebody here needs to see. Okay. Let's see what we have for you in the Kipper cards. Okay, you have Wealthy Man, Courthouse, Change, Main Female, Mature Man, and Message of Concern. Am I not right? There are 3 people involved here. King of Wands, King of Swords, Wealthy Man, Mature Man, Queen of Wands, Main Female. It's not often that I have a reading that is very cut and dry like this. Like, this is very clear. There's somebody else here involved. Okay? Yeah, but here's the thing. You are really into your occupation right now. And I think that it could pay dividends, so to speak. This may be, yeah, I mean, there may be some formal separation that's having to happen. You know, whether this is like breaking up a business or restructuring a business or a relationship as well with the Courthouse card. So in other words, that would be divorce. That won't be for everyone, but you know, yeah, there are definitely major changes on the horizon here for you based on this with that change card. It may even see you moving somewhere else. You do have child on the bottom as well, so I'll let you sit on that one. But for now, Capricorn, this is what I have here for you. Make the most of this new moon in Libra. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll most certainly be talking to you again soon.